Good morning. Welcome to our webinar on Order Management 1. So today we're going to go ahead and work through, after you have done your product research and looked for a different product that you want to present to your customer, we're going to look at how you put those products in a quote and move that into a sales order, which is an order acknowledgement. Just want to go over the terminology of quote in our system. It's just an offering of ideas to your customer. So this is maybe someone that you haven't worked with before and you're trying to land a new customer and they have an event that you're trying to supply them or give them ideas as to what products they could use. And we'll get into that shortly. We have about I think about 5 people, and there are about 12 registered. So we might be receiving people throughout the webinar. So what I want to do is start again with the dashboard and just let you know once you sign into your Vision system, you're going to land on the dashboard, which is your home screen. And just quickly, we have your toolbar across the top. The home button will obviously take you to the dashboard. The products button is going to be everything having to do with product research. So if you want to research products, you can go into Overview and start using the keyword search and filters to get an idea of what products you want to offer to your customer. My Products refers to those products that you've added into your Vision system. And if you want to just search within your products that you've added, you can do that. And right here you have Add a Product. So this is where you would add a product to the Vision system. Projects just has everything to do with the project. A project is that folder per se that you are creating for your customer. So once you create a project, within that project folder, you'll have quotes, sales orders, purchase orders, invoices, as well as maybe notes and files and artwork. So projects just pertains to that. If you go into Project Overview, it's going to give you a list of all the projects that you have in your database. And if you highlight any of the other ones, such as quotes or purchase orders, you'll see all the listing of those as well. Contacts refers to the customer relationship management portion of your Vision. So this is where you would add in customers, add in employees within those customers. You could add in suppliers, as well as importing your customers or leads. Reports just gives you some general templates for reports that you can generate within your Vision system. And websites, there are additional videos on websites, but this is where you create a website, whether it be your company website or a company store for a customer, and then you can choose to manage that on the back end as well as add pages, banners, etc. So you can do a lot with the website feature within Vision as well. Again, this is your dashboard. This is what you're going to see when you come into your Vision system. Earlier yesterday, we did a webinar on product research. So really quickly, we're going to go ahead. There are 3 ways to enter into the product research area within Vision. Products, Overview. You can come into Feature Products and hit More. Or you could go straight into Search Products, key in a keyword or product title, and hit Search. I like to go into Products Overview, and that will take me to the research area within Vision. I'm going to go quickly through this area because, again, the focus of this webinar is the order management. But I do want to show you, once we do the product research, where we put those products and how we create a project for a customer from there. So again, this is your product research area. Along the left-hand side, you can use keywords, product titles, vendors, as well as some additional filter categories such as color, lead time, country of origin. What we described yesterday in our webinar is once you hit a product research or a keyword, so if I want to hit shirts and search for the various shirts within the Vision system, it's going to pull up. We have some new features in the research area. It just changes the way those products are displayed. So that's just your personal preference as to how you want your product research area to look. I particularly like having this new feature of 2 products per row and having a general description along the side. You still have this detail button that if you clicked, it will give you all the pricing information, all the details of that product. And you still have the clipboard button that you can click to add it to your clipboard. Again, the clipboard is your idea center, and you can add as many products to that as you like. The new feature that I've turned on with this button is when I highlight or hold my cursor over the area of the product, it gives me a larger image. So that's also nice. It gives you kind of a better idea as to how that virtual sample looks and what that shirt looks like. So that's one of the new things. You could choose to display it by list mode, which is just 1 per row, and then it gives you some additional information on the product to your right-hand side. And then you could choose to just do general, like we had it before, where you just see a picture of the image, and then you would have to click on details to get further down into finding out what is offered for that product. So once you've done your product research, so you've used your filtering, you've used your product title, and you're ready to create a project for a customer, that is the beginning of the order management. So what we do is during our product research, we've added items to our clipboard. So I like to go ahead and start my order management or my project from my clipboard. So my customer that I'm going to be doing an order for today and creating a project for today is going to be Nike. I have a couple of items already put onto my clipboard. I'm going to check those items that I want to include. Okay, right here it will say new project. I'm going to hit go so I can pull those products through to my quote for my customer Nike. So before it pulls up the create a quote screen, it's going to collect some information on the customer that I'm creating this project for. So right here I want to give a very detailed subject for that customer. So again, I said I was going to be presenting to Nike some products. And let's just say they're having a big corporate event. And I want to make sure I put Nike in the subject line, as well as maybe the date in which they're having this event. The more detail, the better, because you can find your projects easier. And then they actually mean something to you when you're going back through. You can use those subjects to narrow down your search for those particular contacts or projects. What I want to do here is indicate a status. I'm going to create a quotation because this is a new customer for me, and I'm trying to just go ahead and land their account and present them some new ideas. I'm going to select a target date. Target date refers to the in-hands date, so the date that the customer needs this project by. And once I select that target date, I'm going to go find the customer that I'm doing this project for. As I mentioned, I'm going to be supplying this quote to Nike. So I'm going to hit on the hourglass, and it will pull up my customer list. As I go through here, I can hit next to go through the different pages, or I could just simply hit on the second page. And I find Nike, click on Nike. It pulls up all the company details here to the right. I'm going to go ahead and select that customer. Because I've already entered that customer into my contact database within Vision, it pulls it up nicely when I hit the hourglass. However, if it was someone new to my system and I didn't have them in my contact list, I could just click on this add button, the plus, and then I could add a customer in on the fly. So just during my creating a project, I could add that customer in for me. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I do the same for a contact. I already have Scott Payton associated with the customer Nike because that's when I created the customer in my database. That's what I assigned Scott 2. However, if it was a new customer, I could go ahead and click on the plus, and then I would add as many employees as I need to that are associated with that customer. Many of you will be dealing with people that deal with just billing and accounting, and then some of you will be dealing with creative departments and event planning. So you have those, so you can select, enter the individual's name that is within the company, and then you can check one of these boxes as to if they're a primary contact or if they're responsible for payments. So once I've got my customer, my contact automatically populates. The sales rep is just going to refer to me because I'm in my Vision system. However, if you have additional sales reps within your company, you can go ahead and allocate projects to them so it shows up in their vision as something that they need to follow up on. So right here I could just click on the down button, and you can see the various individuals within our company that I could maybe allocate this project to. I'm going to leave it as myself and move on. So once I'm happy with all the project information, I'm going to click Save. I'm going to start generating that quote. So right here we've created the project. It's given a special project number. It's giving you an idea as to what the subject line of that project is. We are doing a quotation. It has the in-hand date, has the customer and the contact and the sales rep. You have 3 options. We are creating a quote. However, if this is a customer that you have currently done business for in the past, you could pull up some customer history and just go ahead and copy a sales order that they've placed in the past with you. So if it's some company picnic that they have every year or some event that you provide a product to them every year for, you can go back, find the sales order, and just simply copy that sales order and send it out to your customer. So in the case of the quote, again, just to clarify terminology, the quote is just some ideas you're providing to the customer. A sales order is going to be actually, once that customer tells you exactly what they want, then you would create a sales order to reflect that. And then again, you don't always have to do a quote. You could just create a sales order for a customer if they knew exactly what they want, or you can copy an existing sales order that's already been done for that customer in the past. Let's go ahead and create our quote. Okay, it has pulled down those products from the clipboard that I selected, so you can see some of the products here. As you can see, I have a Cubs logo, and that's not going to fly with our Nike customer. So what I'd like to do is come up here to my Logos button and go find that Nike logo. And there we have it. It applies that virtual sample logo onto that product so we can get a good idea. The clock, it's a black logo, so it's not showing up that well, but it shows up on everything else. And that is just a virtual sample. So when we get further along in the process and your customer sends their actual artwork to you, that is going to be different than this virtual sample. This virtual sample is just going to show the customer what that logo looks like on the apparel item or the hat or the clock. Then it will get more specific as to when they place the order with you, where and how, what colors that logo can be embroidered or screen printed on. So we applied a logo, the customer logo. We're going to go ahead and set a calendar entry. This is a calendar entry that will appear in your personal calendar within Vision. It has nothing to do with the actual order itself. It's just something that appears on your calendar. So if you're sending out a quote and you want to make sure that you follow up with that customer a couple days after that quote is sent, you can do that here within the calendar. I'm just going to click on calendar. As you can see, it says allocated to myself because I'm in my Vision system. but just as you saw before, you could allocate it to someone else, another sales rep within your company. I'm going to go ahead and just say I want to follow up with my quote and assign a date. So if my quote's going out on the 8th, I want to maybe make sure I follow up with them on the 13th. You could, this is free text, so you could write whatever you want on the objective or action and hit save. So this will add a calendar entry in your personal calendar. I'll show you at the end of our Order Management 1 webinar where that pulls through and how you can view that on your calendar. So here we have our products on our quote. I want to show you how you edit each of those products. So you have a few options within each product. You have an edit product, remove a product, and an add option. When you're dealing with a quote and you're building it for a customer, you want to go into the edit product area. This is a two-step process. The first step is going to talk about general information on that product. So again, here you can add a logo if you like. There's a description already in place for you that's pulled from all the product data that we collect. However, you wanted to erase it and type something in specific to your customer, you can do that there. So it's just free text. Right here you have a product code that's unique to our system. So your customer is not going to see the vendor or supplier code. They're going to see the product code within your Vision system. It's just a placeholder so we can reference that product in the future. So right here we have the color. If you wanted just to quote the red shirt, you can go find the red. And then we have our sizes right here. We can go ahead and maybe select medium, large, and extra large. So once you collect your color and your sizes, you can hit next, and this will move you to the step 2 of where you deal with all the pricing for that product. Right here you have the imprint method to the left. Because it is a apparel item, we have no imprint method defined, or it's just general. However, if you wanted to have this item decorated, you can go ahead up here and add a decoration cost. And by doing this, it allows you to be specific. Maybe you want it embroidered. So we could add that line item for embroidery. And this is very important because if you're selecting if you're wanting your apparel item to be embroidered and it's not being done by the supplier that's supplying the shirt, it needs to go to someone else, you need to get this embroidery in here. And then you can select the supplier. And it will pull up a screen that has a list of all your suppliers that you've entered into your Vision system. So you can go ahead and select a supplier. And that's going to pull the supplier through as well as the address. So when the future, when we move this to a sales order and a PO, purchase order, it's going to generate a purchase order for this embroidery. So right here, we want to click in here and put a charge for the sale price of the embroidery. And whatever we do in the sale price, we want to make sure that we change that in the base price as well, what it's going to cost us to get that embroidered, or you. So maybe $3 there. You have some other options in here. You can, since we're doing embroidery, you might want to say what color. So we want it in black. And then you can actually tell them where you want that embroidered on the apparel item. So you could say front, left, chest. So that takes care of the embroidery or the decoration. But you also have some other options here. You have setup, shipping, and miscellaneous. So you could add a charge for all of these by just clicking on the plus, and it will give you a line item. And this one I clicked on miscellaneous. It says other related cost, but if I wanted to click right here, I could just make it more specific. I could type anything in there. Maybe just art setup. And I would put a price in here for the art setup. And then I could select a supplier as well. So I could put a price. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but I wanted to show you that function. Go back to my base cost, and it's already gone. Okay. So right here you have another button where you can add additional cost. When you supply this to your customer, you can choose not to show these additional costs on the quotation. So even though you're putting them here into the price of product and it's calculating that total cost price for your customer, you can just show that total cost price on your quotation. So they don't have to see all the additional costs that are included in that. So if you're happy and you've adjusted the price table, right here we're just quoting one apparel item so they can get an idea. But if we had and we wanted to do 50 or 100, we could do just click in here and you can select the quantity. So I want to save. So I've went ahead and edited this red shirt. And you can see now I'm quoting quantity 1, and the total sale price with all my additional embroidery is going to be $48.50 for that shirt. I can do that for every item, every product on my quote by just going into this edit product and following that two-step process. I do want to show you something with the clock because it has some additional imprint methods defined. So if I go into edit product, I can see what the description looks like for that clock. Again, I could erase that, write whatever I'd like in there. Gives it that special product code. But if I go into step 2, I have my pricing grid, but up here I have my imprint method. And right here there is an imprint method defined. It's pad, so it's a pad imprint. And I can get a 1 color, 2 color, 3 color, or 4 color pad imprint. So right here if I want to choose the 3 color, it's going to calculate that into my sales grid. So it's done all for me. I don't have to rekey any additional information. It's over here on the base cost as well. I don't think I want to quote all those. So we'll just quote 50 for our customer. But again, you can make all the changes. There we go. And then it will update that price in the clock. But I'm just going to quote 50 at the total sale price of $507. As you're going through your quote, if you choose, oh, you know, I don't think I want to include that hat, I can go ahead and remove that product. As well as I can add product to my quote. I can go back to the research area by clicking on this Find a Product. I could also go and add a product to my entire system. So this would be a product that I'd want to add to my vision system for me to be able to research and search again for another customer. So if I click on this, it's a lot more detailed, product details that you collect to do that. So you can go through the various steps. You enter the description, the name of the product, then you can go into colors and sizes, customization, then you have this pricing grid where you can go ahead and indicate what the cost of the item is and the sale price and what margin you'd like, as well as uploading images of that product. So this is something you would do if you were wanting to use this product again in your database. I'm going to close out of this. But you also have the quick product insert. So this is a way of adding a product as a line item to your quote. It may be something that you might not use again for another customer. So if I click on the plus button, I can add that quick product insert. I could add in the product code, the quantity. So say I just want to include 100 bottles of water for this event. I just include quantity, the sales price, the cost price, going to calculate my gross margin and the total price of that product. And I'm just going to add a little description on what that product is. And I'm going to save. And you'll see this pull through as a line item on my quotation. So right here we have a bottle of water, we have quantity 100, and we can go ahead and edit that product or remove that product. So this is something that you can quickly insert to your quotation, and it solves the whole thing of maybe taking that time and adding a product with all the code. So this would be something that you need to do on the quickly. You can do that here on the quotation. You have a notes section, so you can, this is a free text section, so you can write what you need here. So right there we've gone through building the quote. Again, the quote is the ideas that you want to present to that customer. We've gone through, we've added those products to our quote. We've added a logo so you can see a virtual sample of what their logo looks like on the products. We've gone into each product and we've edited the product. So we've looked at the different sizes, the quantity that we want to offer, as well as adding some additional cost. So once you're happy with what your quote looks like, you can go up here, and the way I look at this is this design button is kind of print preview as you would have it in your normal Word documents that you do on a daily basis. So if you think of it, design as that, you can click on the design button. It's going to give you a print preview of your quote that is going out to the customer. On your quotation, we have some templates. So at the top left, you're going to see the customer logo, and then on the top right, you'll see your logo. This is a template, so it's set up this way. There are some ways you can adjust it. If you wanted to include a cover page, you can do that by just checking here. And we have a couple preset templates for cover pages as well. To make them look pretty, we can just put maybe a red swirl. You can kind of see a red swirl, but if you scroll down, you have the Nike and all the customer information, and then you have all your information. You can choose to include addresses, exclude addresses, everything you can do by just clicking on or off these checks. Right here, when you get into the quote, you can look at how that product is displayed on the quote. So you could check to include pricing, additional charges. If you didn't want to include the additional charges, you could uncheck this. If you didn't want to include notes, maybe you thought your quotation was too long, you want to just take out some of your notes, you can choose to include or exclude product images. So now our quote, we have a 5-page quote. I can move through the quote by hitting next or previous. So I'm just reviewing my quote prior to sending it. And once I'm happy with it, I can come up here to save and close, or I can immediately send it to my customer. I'm going to click send. It's going to pull up my Outlook or my email manager. It's going to populate the customer's email address, and it's going to attach that quote as a PDF. So right here it's generating the PDF. In just a minute we'll see it actually generated. There we go. There's the quote. It's assigned a quote number. You can type whatever you like in the subject area of your email, and then when you hit send, it will generate that email to your customer. I'm going to close out of this. If you didn't want to go ahead and send it, you could just hit save and close, and then that would save that quote, assign it to the project, and you can go look at that for further or future reference. This concludes Order Management 1. So what we did is we just looked at how you take product research and you move that into creating a quote or a presentation for a customer. From here, you would either convert your quote to a sales order, which is an order acknowledgement. So the customer would come back to you and say, okay, I like the white shirt, I don't like the blue shirt, I want X amount of them, I want them in these sizes, and then you would build your sales order from there. What's nice about the system, again, is once you've created that quote and you convert it to a sales order, there's not a lot of rekeying of information. And you'll see that in our webinar on sales or Order Management 2. And I think we have one scheduled for tomorrow, so I'd love to have some of you guys come on to that. And I go up here. And go back. I want to show you the project now that we've created a quote, show you how that's displayed within your project. So if we go back and we find our project overview, it's going to pull up a list of all the projects that I've done. I'm going to find this Nike corporate event and select it. And now what it's going to do is show me, okay, I've got this project opened. I've done a quotation. Once I convert it to a sales order, I would see that there would be a sales order, and then I can see how it moves through the order process. So everything is nicely contained within that project folder per se, or that project job jacket. So you can always find a project. You can always find all the quotes that you've done for that project. So you have it all nice and neat together. And from here, you can move it through, and you'll be able to follow how those sales orders are generated and purchase orders, and you can generate invoice as well. And then right here in the activity log, you can assign activities, and notes and files, you can attach artwork and emails. So everything is within that project. In the quote area, I did put a calendar entry. So before we conclude and I start to take some questions, I'm going to go up here to the calendar and show you where that entry was put. I think we had it follow up. Here we go. Here's the follow-up quote for Nike. So it pulled through to my personal calendar on the 13th. So this is just an idea of, what your personal calendar looks like with InVision. And you can add information into this calendar through various screens with InVision, as well as just coming into the calendar yourself and adding a new event. You can do that here as well. And as I mentioned, you can also allocate it to additional people within your company. So right here we have my calendar open, but if I wanted to see Gray's calendar, I could do that as well. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard and take some questions. Hold on. Okay. For question 1, it said, for target date, do you mean the date they need the presentation or the date they need the final product delivered? Good question. Yes, I'm referring to the date that they need the product in their hands, so delivered. And then the second question right here is, what is the maximum number of products per page that this system will allow? In the research area, depending upon which view you have open, I think we have in the view where you have 2 per row, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get maybe 12 to a page. But if you have it just in the visual sample, the image, if you just have the images selected, you could probably get more. I think it's about 15. So hopefully that, but I see you have a follow-up question. I'm sorry, Jenny. For the presentations, the maximum number, it's usually 1 to 2 products per page of your quote. It just depends on what you choose to include in that quote. So you can shorten it, but if you have product images on your quote, it's usually only 1 to 2 products per page. If you choose not to have the product images, I think it goes up to about 4 products per page. So again, that's just going to depend on whether you choose to include a lot of the details and notes and product images. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much for joining us on this webinar today. And again, I mentioned that we have one scheduled for tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I would hope that you would join us. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.